Good morning, church. Such a pleasure to see all your smiling faces this morning and be able to just be here together with y'all to worship our God in spirit and in truth. Around this time last year, Miss Renee had given me a laundry basket, which many of you guys signed, and I'm very appreciative for because I love looking at it, all your signatures and all your notes that you guys have for me, and I'm really appreciative for it. I'm also appreciative when it's empty because that means I don't have to do laundry. But before she gave it to me, she asked me for a verse that she could write on top of it. And the verse that I chose is Romans 5:8. Now, there's a couple reasons why I chose Romans 5:8. Namely, it's one of my favorite verses. I think it encompasses entirely what the Bible is about, entirely why we're here this morning, entirely what the gospel is. But there's also another reason why I chose that verse. The leading verses up to it are very relatable to me. And I'll read these verses right now for you real quick in Romans 5, starting in verse 6. For while we were still weak, at the right time, Christ died for the ungodly. For one will scarcely die for a righteous person, though perhaps for a good person, one would dare to even die. Now you might be thinking, why is that relatable? And I'll explain. And this might come as a shock to all of you guys, unless you're the Crawfords or my family. But in my family of 6, growing up, I was the problem child. My parents over there are laughing right now because in their head, that's an understatement. But I was the problem child. I was the one that would get in trouble the most. I was probably grounded for at least 30% of my life. My friends can attest to that. But also, we joke around a lot since we're both adults now, that I taught them long-suffering and patience. Because I made them suffer for a very long time, and I made them wait a long time for me to change. And I think they're still waiting out on that one. But I also had a talk with my mom a couple of days ago about how 99% of the rules in our house were made because of me. And I thought that was ridiculous. Because what do you mean? We had our fair share of making rules in the house. But then I realized she's right. Literally, we had a rule, and I thought this was an absurd rule, and I don't follow it, obviously. But the bananas in the house, there's usually 6 that come in a bunch. The last one, the kids cannot eat. Obviously, myself, I love bananas. That's a dumb rule to me. Why can't I eat the last banana? The last banana is usually the best banana. And since I don't follow that rule anymore, I get to have the last banana. But also, when that rule was given to me, it was given to all 4 of us at the same time. But my sisters don't eat bananas. So when they said kids can't eat the last banana, it was literally just saying Elias can't eat the last banana. And I thought that was crazy. Even at 6 years old, I thought, dang, they're calling me out for no reason. Calling me out. And then I can tell the exact day that my parents realized that I was going to be the problem child. And this is before they even had the other 3. This is when they knew they're in it for a long 18 years. We were at the dinner table eating dinner. I'm pretty sure it was spaghetti. And I didn't want to finish my plate. But my parents had the foresight to know, which I now know they have that for everything, obviously. But they had the foresight to know that if I didn't finish my dinner plate, I would be hungry later on and make it their problem. So they wanted me to not get hungry later on, and they told me that I had to finish my plate. Now, I'm 2 years old at this point. I'm not conscious. I'm barely conscious now. But I'm sitting there eating this plate, and I don't want it. And so my 2-year-old brain thinks the best plan possible is just throw the food away. And that's exactly what I do. And it was a genius plan, and it worked for about 20 minutes until my parents saw in the trash can a full plate of spaghetti, and they were like, yeah, he definitely threw it away. But the thing is, you know how you'll know someone did something, but you'll still ask them about they did it just to see their response? And that's what they did to me. They asked me, Elias, did you throw your spaghetti away? And I was adamant, no, I didn't throw it away. I ate my food. And they showed me the proof that they saw spaghetti in the trash can. And so I'm going crazy. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm caught right-handed. And so the obvious thing to do is to come out and say, yes, okay, I did throw my food away, I'm sorry. But I wasn't thinking like that. What I was thinking and what I told them, and it seems pretty believable even now, was that a bird flew through the window, didn't eat the food, but dumped the food into the trash can. I'm not gonna lie, that's a pretty good idea. Like, that was pretty intuitive. That's pretty inventive. Obviously, that didn't work because that window wasn't even open in the first place. But you get the gist. I was definitely the problem child in our family. But the thing is, if given the choice, my parents, between saving me, and saving the world, they would save me 11 out of 10 times. They would save me, the kid that put them through the most stuff, put them through 18 years of trauma. Well, 19 really, because I'm 19 now. 19 years of trauma. Talked back, well, not talked back, because I'd get killed, but was disrespectful and just all around a nuisance for a long time. They would still choose me over the world. And now, God kind of made the same choice, but in a different kind of way. See, I'm guilty, and so is the world, but my parents would still choose me, because I'm their son, their only son that they love. God had the choice between his son and us. And the difference between my parents' choice in that dilemma and God's choice was that in God's choice, there is an innocent party. In God's choice, Jesus didn't do any of the things that I did. In fact, it seems so clear-cut that, like, in God's choice, he should choose his son who's innocent. My parents chose the guilty party, would choose the guilty party, but there's an innocent in God's choice. Yet he didn't choose that one. And when you think about it, it's kind of insane because, like, yeah, we also did the same things I did to my parents, but we do it to God. We disrespect God. We blaspheme him, well, somewhat. We sin against him. All around, we're just nuisances. From the beginning to now, we've been nuisances to God. But Jesus, as the innocent party, was still not chosen to be saved because God loved us that much. God's love for us overwhelmed his love for his only son. See, my parents, their love for their only son is the reason why they would choose their son. But he loves his only son that much, but he also loves us. And that's why he chose us, and he does choose us every day. And that's the reason why we're here today, because God chose us instead of Jesus. If it wasn't for that choice that God made, we would have no reconciliation. We wouldn't be here today because there's no hope. There's no chance of going to heaven to see our God. And that's why I find verses 5, 6, and 7, 6, 7, and 8 so relatable, because in there it's talking about an innocent person taking on the guilty party's sins, an innocent person going down for us. And in a few moments, as we partake in the Lord's Supper, I just want everyone to keep in mind and dwell and remember that because God shows his love for us, and that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Thank you.